Hello, my name is Ahmed, and if you've seen my other video, then you'll know who I am. If not, that was what the introduction was for. Besides the point, I want to talk about the Port Said disaster. Now, I want to blame two groups, SCAF and the Ministry of Interior. That's one group, by the way. I don't treat them as different, and I'll tell you why. Samir Zahir and the Egyptian FA. And thirdly, the fans, the ultras. And it's not just ultras Ahlawi I'm going to blame or ultras al-Masri. I'm going to criticize the soccer culture all over. Now, first, I will talk about SCAF and the Minister of Interior. Why do I treat them as one body? They're the government, essentially. And the they were, when the revolution was finished, and well, not quite finished, but when the main revolt was ended at the 11th of February, the military council took power. One of the memos that were left to them was the police force needs reformatting and changing. A year later, the police force is exactly the same as what it was under Mubarak. This is rubbish. This was something you could have done. You could have started working on. So by the time you leave power, the job is achieved. I believe it takes about 18 weeks, as far as I was told by a policeman, to train the average person on the force. So basically, in 18 months, you could have already started seeing some changes and differences in the new graduates and in the new trainees. So it's a big job, but it's not as monumental as it sounds. It was substantial improvements could have been seen over the last year, and they weren't. There are 52 weeks in a year. So, I mean, 18 months to train what a policeman each time. So, you can do that. You know, it's possible. Now, secondly, I want to stress something. When to the military council and the ministers, they seem to be living in the Mubarak era, where you became minister by how much you can suck up to the government. Now, that doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work like that anymore. You're a president because you do a job now, as two ministers of interior and one prime minister found out. Now, Tantawi's job, it's not just to appoint ministers and have a senior citizen nap. No. It's to actually communicate with them. It's to ask them, what are your goals? Okay, my goals are A, B, and C. Alright, now let's go about achieving them. A, B, C. And then after every 6 months or so, you ask him, what have you done? What have you achieved? And he'll say, oh, we achieved A and B, but we couldn't achieve C for A and B and Z. We go about achieving C. Maybe we need to do this, this, and this to get to C. Okay, great. You know, there's progress and there's discussion on how to make progress. That's what a president's meant to do. And you're meant not just to do this with the Ministry of Interior. You're meant to do this with all ministries that you've appointed. And you're meant to talk to the Prime Minister. But I do not hear about any meetings between Tantawi and any ministers. So he just appoints them and then has a senior citizen nap. You don't do that. I know you're old and dying, but if that's the case, maybe you should leave. I mean, come on. You know, it's already ridiculous enough that we look to the mummy section in the Egyptian museum to find our political leaders, and that we are forced to comply with this. At least have some decency and try and help us. Try and be on our side, which you're not. At least you should have known Ali Masri match. That's been a grudge match for decades. For reasons I won't get into here. But it's been a grudge match for decades. It's well known that Masri and Ahli are very, very stern rivals. It's like Man City and Liverpool. Not quite at the United level, Liverpool level, but Man City, Liverpool. It's a cross-city rivalry in many respects, but not quite. I'm not going to get into the depth, but it's a rivalry that has caused problems in the past. The ultras of the two sides have been known for getting into fights with each other in the past. This match should have been secured. Although I do not believe, by the way, that the ultras did this. I'll explain why. Look in the news. Look at the news on the internet. and watch it. There were guys waiting outside trying to get in. And the police officer opens the door and lets them in. And they start attacking the Al Ahly players. Now all of a sudden, a whole bunch of people storm in. So there are people that are trying to stop them, people that are panicked and want to leave. Now when they want to leave, the police force shuts the exit. The guys over there shut the exit. So everyone dies. Now, there are two reasons. Either they're stupid or corrupt. And I believe the latter because there was absolutely no need to open that door. The match is over. What are they going to go in there and see? The pitch? I mean, there was no need at all to open that door that let them in. You look at it. Look at the footage. Just write down Port Said disaster and you'll see all kinds of videos. And you'll see what I'm talking about. There's absolutely no need for those guys standing outside to have been let in. And yet you let them in. Why? That police officer should be put on trial and given the death penalty. I'm sorry, I know whoever's against the death penalty might disagree with me. In Egypt we have it and it should apply for everyone who commits murder until revoked. I am neutral now. Death penalty is not my issue. But it should be applied to this guy until we revoke it. Because whether you have it or not, there shouldn't be a special law for police or for army. I.e. Silmi articles. No. Everyone, like I said in my last video, the law should apply to everyone. Secondly, Samir Zahir. Now, this scumbag has been driving me nuts for 5 years. But the one point that's really been hanging out with me for 2 years now, and it's 2 years, I know, I should have probably made a video about this earlier, again, from my first video. I apologize for my cowardice and lack of weak-willedness to come out earlier. The Algeria issue. Okay, so a bunch of our hooligans hurt them. Okay, there's a huge arch rivalry. Alright, I can see how that can happen. But when they get hurt, the job of our president is not to make up stories about them and make us look like idiots when we denounce them for pretending. Because we trusted the president of our FA. We trusted him. And he lied to us. And what's worse than this is that Mubarak didn't remove him. Okay, Mubarak was a dog and he's out. But what makes Tantawi terrible is that the Tantawi didn't hold him to account for it. This was an attack on foreign dignitaries. These are the equivalents of foreign dignitaries. You cannot attack them. You would not attack the Algerian ambassador and you would certainly not attack their soccer team. It's wrong. I'm sorry. And Samir Zahir should have been held to account for this as soon as Tantawi had the chance. Tantawi did not hold him to account for this. And after 74 people died, now he's doing it. I'm sorry. Delayed reaction. There was overdue justice. You failed to deliver it. There was overdue action and you failed to deliver it. I'm sorry. You know, you're useless. And Samir Zahir is a degenerate too. I mean, come on. I'm not going to say he's directly responsible, but he's partially responsible. Because he should have known the history that I was talking about earlier. Ahly Masri match has been a grudge match for decades. He should have known that. And he should have prepared for it properly. He should have, when there was no army presence in the security, he should have gone there and he should have asked for it. And yes, he deserves his fate. He deserves to be removed. And if FIFA's upset and call it government interference, then screw you. Because he's committed a criminal offense. Gross negligence is a criminal offense. I'm sorry, this is beyond football now. No sports court can deliver the appropriate punishment. I'm sorry. This has to be dealt with by a court of law. By a criminal court of law. And so should the Minister of Interior. But the one thing that no court can deal with is culture. The fan culture in soccer has gotten abominable recently. I mean, Egypt's bad. I'm not saying we're not. We have some faults. And we have our brawls and we have our hooligans that hurt each other. But this is the first disaster of this magnitude in Egypt. England has 5 or 6 and France has a couple. And Spain has 1 or 2 of this magnitude. And Turkey has quite a few. And Sub-Saharan Africa has a few too. I think there was 100 or 200 people died. I mean, out the fan culture of soccer, and I'm a soccer fan too, I'm a passionate soccer fan, hurt each other. We form ultras who are extremists and radicals, and they have changed the aim of watching a game. It went from watching the game to support our team, give them moral support, and enjoy the game, and help them win by giving them a good morale boost, to beating up each other and killing up each other. I mean, in Eastern Europe, as an example of where this has gotten bad, Egypt also, but Eastern Europe's one place where they're not letting the hooligans beat up each other before the match. They're setting up times for the hooligans from the two teams about to play to come meet each other and beat the living daylights out of each other in the stadium before the match, so they have no energy to cause trouble during the match. This is what soccer has come to. This is what our fan base has come to. This is ridiculous. And FIFA is not responsible for this, but FIFA has done nothing to try and curtail this. I mean, this is a whole saga of all sorts of groups, including the public at large, not taking their full responsibility to prevent this from happening. Whether it's the Egyptian public or the soccer fan community. We're all at fault here. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.